Yeah, welcome to DurgaSoft, guys. So this course is Git and GitHub. This is the level one beginner course, guys. So so what we will cover? We will cover in this course Git and GitHub, guys.
Good evening,
So
sir.
myself, yep, go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Okay, sir. You tell, sir. Start.
Okay, it's recording now. Okay. Yeah. So myself, I'm Hari Cheruku. So I'm a DevOps consultant and solution architect with 12 plus years of industry experience. I'm a real-time employee and I'm passionate about the teaching. So giving the trainings to the people. So I have done few certification. I'm a ITL V3 certified engineer. I'm a Red Hat certified engineer, and I'm a Red Hat certified system administrator, and I am a AWS certified solution architect, and I am a certified Kubernetes administrator, guys. Okay. So, what is the agenda? So, what are the prerequisites to learn this Git and GitHub? So, the agenda is introduction to Git and GitHub, uses of GitHub user interface. So, command line uses of Git and towards advanced uses, guys. And what are the prerequisites? Prerequisites are the none, but pay attention, guys. And goals and objectives. So, at the end of this class, you should know how to get the started with the GitHub and able to work with the Git repositories. So find information and support to learn more, guys. Okay. So what we will cover in this course, we'll cover introduction to version control system. What is version control? Types of centralized and distributed version control system. Benefits of version control. Introduction to Git. History of Git and GitHub. GitLab, Bitbucket. Okay, so installation and configuration, installing Git on Windows, Linux, Mac, basic Git configuration, Git GUI tools versus so command line tools, and Git basics, guys. Creating a Git repository, cloning a repository, Git directory structure, checking the status, adding files, committing changes, viewing history, and fourth module will discuss about the working with branches. So understanding the branches, creating a branch, switching a branches, so merging branches, conflict resolution, so deleting branch, Git workflow and collaboration, like so remote repositories, pushing changes, pulling changes, fetching changes, so forking, pull request, and upstream repositories. So undoing and resetting and revert, Git checkout, Git reset, Git revert, Git stashing, Git clean will discuss, and tags. Okay, so we'll discuss about the Git rebase, cherry pick, hooks, Git ignore, Git attributes, and creating a repositories on GitHub, SSH key configuration, and issues, projects, and actions, and the real-time scenarios. So GitHub, Git workflow strategies, Git flow, GitHub flow, team collaboration practices, Git in DevOps pipeline, Git aliases and productivity tips, security in Git, sensitive data, environment data, ignore. So we'll show you this, guys. So most widely used, a very mature ecosystem of tools, understanding the kernel, Apache, Eclipse, Android, wide enterprises, guys. So these are the modules. 10 modules we will discuss. And so what is GitHub? What is Git? So what is GitHub and Git? We'll discuss, guys. Okay. So what we will cover in this course, I will tell you, guys. So this is Git and GitHub. So what is Git and GitHub? So you will know, guys. So what we will cover? Date. So what is the date? Date is 10/11/2025. Okay. So one second, guys. Right, Git and GitHub. You will understand. GitLab also, GitLab, Bitbucket also, Bitbucket. So what are the prerequisites, guys? Prerequisites are none. What is Jenkins, Kubernetes, Terraform? What, Vijay? So that is very class. Okay. So what are the prerequisites? So prerequisites are none. Okay. So the duration is 5 days, guys. So duration is 5 days. So Monday to Friday. So what we will, so we'll share the, we'll share two recordings, videos. Those are related to FAQs, guys. Those are related to FAQs. Okay. Trainer. So who is a trainer? Trainer, Harry, myself, having 12 plus years of experience. Okay. So class timings. Class timings 9 p.m. IST to 10 p.m. IST. Okay, this is the class timing and the trainer. Okay, and no. So what we will provide? So we'll provide the soft copy, class notes, and recorded videos. We'll share via Google Drive. Okay, yeah, yes, understood. So what is GitHub? GitHub, I will show you. GitHub.com. Yep, guys. So this is the, you see, right? This is the github.com, Hare Krishna Cherukhu 866. So AWS with AWS DevOps material. So whatever I am training you guys, I'm giving the trainings, right? I upload all the materials in this repository, guys. What this is? This is the repository. I'm uploading all the data to the this GitHub repository. This is the remote repository wherever you want. You, if you want to download, you guys can just click and check it and you can download it, guys. So this is a remote repository. For example, now you understood, right? This is the GitHub. I will tell you just so for the basic, I will tell you what is GitHub. Now you understood the GitHub. So there is a Git bash. So here the Git bash. Okay. So how we can operate Git? So we can operate. We need to install the Git on our local, and we can operate from here. Okay. So here in our local, you are installing the Git. So whatever the code, you can push it from your local to a remote. You can push the code from your local to remote. So for that purpose, we need a Git and GitHub. So if it is a GitHub or a GitLab or a Bitbucket, you can push the code from. So you can push the. So you can push the code to your GitLab, or you can push the code to your Bitbucket. Okay, all are same. There is no much difference between these, but these remote repositories are created by some other companies. GitLab is created by some other, GitHub is Atlassian, and this GitHub is a Microsoft. Before GitHub, so now the GitHub is acquired to the Microsoft. Is understood? So now we can discuss about so what is Git and GitHub. So before discussing about Git and GitHub, so we will discuss about the what is version control system, a source code management tool. So I think guys, what is source code? Guys, does anyone knows what is source code? Guys, please respond, guys. Source code management tool. So nowadays, so the developers, QA, or a operation engineer, or a DevOps guys, a cloud engineer, so their code, how we can automate the infra guys through the IAC, through the Terraform. So the cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer copied their copying their Terraform code into GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket. So QA engine is the automation. So Java with Selenium or something like a Playwright, Mocha test classes, right? These all are the automation code will be stored under the remote repository. The developers, whatever the developer develop that code, right? That code will be store under the remote repository, right? Everyone need to know about the source code management tool or a version control system. Because of all the people, the code will be stored under the remote repository only. Is understood? So are we covering that as well, the usage of those in GitHub? So Vijay, we will not cover the Jenkins, Kubernetes, Terraform. We are covering only the Git and GitHub. Source is nothing but can be a file.
Sir, I have some questions, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, how many days this course sir, take a time?
I already told you, right, guys? You just know joined, huh?
1 month.
Hmm?
How many days, sir?
5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
Only 5 days.
Yeah, only 5 days. And we'll share the two recording videos. Those are related to FAQs. So, so did you saw right what we are covering what we are covering it? The modules? Yes, 5 days only. Who is asking? Moriana.
Sir, yes, yes. Sir, what is, sir, where is it is use GitHub and Git? In
Where
the,
it is uses, sir?
yes, yes.
Yeah, I will tell you. I will tell you in the course, right? Where it is, why it is, what it is.
Sir, my it is course Android development. At Android
You are a
developer. I am Android developer.
Android developer.
Yes, yes.
Yes, where you are storing your code after developing the code.
My developing core it is MVVM, Firebase, Intent,
Hmm?
Android Studio.
Hmm.
Yes.
No, no. So you are only the one developer to develop the code, or multiple developers are working on it?
I am front-end developer, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So you will get it within 10 minutes. You will get it. So where exactly it uses, huh?
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what is a version control system array source code management tool, guys? Okay. Yeah. Who is asking?
Yeah, hi sir. This is Kalim. Okay,
Hmm.
sir, I'm a DBA. We don't use coding, but I just wanted to move further in my career. So
Hmm.
I
You are a
wanted to learn. DBA, Database
DBA, yes,
Administrator.
yes. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I just wanted to move further in career. So
Mm.
wanted to learn DevOps. Okay. In
Okay.
that, I just wanted to before getting started DevOps,
Mm.
coding and all these are all important, right? So I just wanted to join a course here. Is it correct, sir?
Yeah.
Am I going
Yes,
correct
correct.
way?
Yeah. And
Okay.
we started a Linux with Ansible culling. So the Linux is
Yeah,
the
Linux.
base for developing for the AWS with DevOps or any DevOps guy. Okay, the
Okay, sir.
basic funda is need to learn the Linux.
Yes, sir. Linux commands we regular work we use. No problem with
Okay.
that.
If you know that, if you, yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, no worries. It will be
Ansible is there, sir? You are saying
Ansible.
Ansible.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Ansible,
you,
Terraform.
Okay.
sir, you tell me, sir, developer how to use in Git and GitHub is required in the developer.
Yes.
Sir, where to use in that Git and GitHub?
Yeah,
How
I will show
to?
you. I will show you in 10 minutes. You will understand. Maurya.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. So now you understood, right, guys? That is the GitHub is the remote repository, and Git is something like your local. So right. So so what is that? Developers developing the code, right? What developers are doing, guys? What developers are doing? Develop the code, right? So for example, so this is the guy. This is also guy. And this is the guy. And this is also a guy. This guy is from Hyderabad. This guy is from Chennai. This guy is from US. This guy is from US. And this guy is from Canada. For example, guys. This guy is from Canada. Okay. So these all are the developers, or QA engineers, or DevOps engineers. Okay. These all are. So he is working from Hyderabad. So he is working from Chennai. So he's working from USA. This guy is working from USA. This guy is working from CA, Canada, or something like Pune. Okay. So these all are the developers, guys. These all are the developers. So whatever the developer develop that code, right? How to integrate all the developers code at one place, guys. So what is my question? My question is how to integrate all the developers code at one place. One place. Okay. And how to track how to track code changes in the project. How to how to guys, one second. Okay, yep, guys. So right, how to track the changes in the project. So tracking in the sense, tracking. So in the sense, so who modified the code, and when modified the code, and where modified the, sorry, what modified, and why modified. How you can track these changes, right? So how to integrate, these all are the developers. This guy is working from Hyderabad, this guy is working from Chennai, this guy is working from Pune, this guy is working from USA. So how you can integrate the, so how you can integrate the all the developers code at one place. So how they can integrate, guys? Does anyone knows? So what this is? So this is, for example, GitHub repository. How they can push the code? They can push the code to the GitHub repository. Right, guys? How they can push the code, guys? They can push the code from the repository. Right? So what this is? So for example, this is the GitHub repository. This is GitHub repository, where they can store the code. They can store the code in the remote repository. That repository is a GitHub repository. GitHub, sorry guys, GitHub a repository. This is GitHub repository, where they can store the data. They can store the data in the remote repository. They can store the data in the remote repository. Yes, understood. So they can store the data in the remote repository. So this is the remote repository. What this is, guys? So this is the remote repository. So
Sir,
everyone can push the
sir,
code into the,
hello.
yeah,
Sir, I have some questions. Sir, how to use a remote repository in the Git and GitHub?
yeah. I will tell more. Yeah, wait.
Sir,
So in
how
this
to
class,
use?
you will get everything. You will clear everything. Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the GitHub repository. So they can store the data in the GitHub repository. That GitHub is the remote repository, either GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket. They are pushing their code changes into the GitHub repository. GitHub repository, right? So how they can push the code? They can push the code, how they can push the code. So multiple developers will work on the same project. These guys are working on the same project, or developer will be working for the multiple locations. All developers code should be stored at one place, right? To integrate all the developers source code at one place, so we will use the source code repository software like a GitHub. So what is that? So GitHub is the source code repository tool. We can store the data in the GitHub repository like GitHub or GitLab, Bitbucket or Code Commit or Azure Repo. So we have a number of, right? So these are the version version control system. What is a version control system or a source code management tool? So what is version control system, guys? So multiple developers will work on the same project. So the project is, for example, Citibank project. What this is? This is Citibank or HDFC, HDFC Bank project. So multiple developers will work on the same project. So developers will be working from the multiple locations. All developers code should be stored at one place. So to integrate all the developers source code in one place, so we will use the source code repository softwares like GitHub, GitLab, or Bitbucket, or Code Commit, or Azure Repo. Nice, understood. So right. So we can push the code from GitHub. So from your local to GitHub. So from the local, what you need to install. So this is your, for example, this is your laptops, guys. All these are the laptops. In the laptops, we need to push the whatever the code we write in, right? So we need to push it to the GitHub repository. This is a remote repository. How we can push it? You need to install the Git client on your machine. What is that? Git client. So Git client is nothing but a Git software. What is that? So Git software need to install on your local. So from that local, so we can push the code. So from that local, you can push the code from your local to a remote. So your local to remote, how you can push? You can push the code by using this software. You can push the code by using this Git client software. How you can push the code, guys? You can push the code by using the Git client software. Understood, guys? Git client software. On the Git client, so this is the Git client software. From your Git client to, for example, CD, Citibank is there. Okay. You see, right? So this is the Citibank. Citibank is your local repository. So from that local repository, so you are pushing the code from Citibank local repository to so remote repository. What is that? GitHub remote repository. So from the Citibank, here also there is a repository called as a Citibank. So you are pushing the code from your local to a remote repository by using GitHub and Git Git software by using if you install the Git software on your local from here to there you can push the code. Guys, understood? So now you understood how to integrate the all the developers code at one place. Yes. So how to track the code changes in the project? How to track, guys? So by using this software. So by using the software, how to track? For example, Git status Git log, right? Git log is right. So who is committed? Yes. So author is Hari, sir is committed. What is the commit message? So what is the commit ID? When it was committed? What is the commit message? So how we can track, guys? So we can track the changes. Who committed? Where committed? When committed? Why committed? So it will be everything will be tracked. Everything will be tracked. That's the reason Git is popular. Who modified Harisar? When modified? Date? What modified? He modified the some files. Why modified? He will create the commit message ID. So merge pull request. So create a provider or something like a merge branch. What is that? Version or a create a provider. So they are providing the reason why it was modified. So why it was modified, right? Understood how to track the code changes in the Git project. So by using Git, we can modify who modified, when modified, what modified, why modified. Guys, understood? So now you understood the Git and GitHub. I will tell you everything. You just roughly you understood the what is GitHub and what is Git, right? So now, what is a version control system? So what is a version control system, guys? So version control system are a source code management tool, multiple developers will work for a project. Will work for a project development. Okay. Developers will be working from multiple locations. Okay. All developers code should all developers code should be stored at one place. Store at one place, right? To integrate all the developers all the developers code at one place, and we will use source code repository. What is that? Source code repository softwares, source code repository softwares like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Bitbucket, AWS code commit, and Azure repo. What is that? Azure repo and so on, etc. Right, etc. Yes, understood. What is version control system and source code management? So how many types there are? There are two types of version control system, guys. There are two types of version control systems. There are two types of version control system. There are two types of version control system. So what are those? Centralized version control system and distributed version control system. Centralized and centralized version control system and distributed version control system. Distributed version control system. Right. So Git and GitHub are the distributed version control systems. So Git is the distributed version control system. So what is a centralized version control system? So what is centralized version control system, guys? Centralized version control system is so what is that, guys? Subversion is the centralized version control system. What is that? Subversion. SVN, you already heard about it, right, guys? Does anyone knows heard about the version control system? Source code management will be two types. One is a centralized version control system and a distributed version control system. So what is centralized version control system? So the code will be directly pushed to the server, and if something goes on the server, right, we cannot retrieve the data. This is the drawback of the centralized version control system, and they are using the SVN. But in the distributed version control system, so we have a remote repository and a local repository also. So I showed you, right, Citibank is the local repository, and so remote have a GitHub also having the Citibank. So the code will be in the remote server as well as local server. So from your working copy, from your workstation to you push it to the code to the local repository. So from that local repository, you can pull to the remote repository. The code will be available under the remote repository as well as local repository, same like as. So this is your local repository. So from your local repository, you are pushing to the remote repository. This remote repository is a GitHub, Bitbucket. So this is your local Git installed software. Git installed software. Guys, understood the difference between distributed version control system and the centralized version control system. Now, what is a Git? No, what is a Git, guys? So, what is Git? So, now you understood. So, real power on the command line. What is a Git? So, what is a Git, guys? So, what is Git? You already know about the Git. Git is a version control software, right? What is Git? Git is a version control software. It's a distributed version control system, right? Not centralized. It is used to track and manage the changes to files locally. It is used to, what is this? This is the Git. It is used to track. It is used to track and manages the changes to files locally. So locally manages. So it will track and manage the changes files locally, right? So Git is a open source. It is a open source, free of cost, and source code also available. Guys, now you understood. So what is a Git? Git is a Git is a distributed version control system. Git is a version control software. It is used to track and manage the changes files locally. It is a open source. So Git is developed by the Linus Torvald. Git is developed by the Linus Torvald. Guys, understood?
Yes, able to understand. Will you be able to give the notes later?
Sorry?
Will you be giving the notes running
Yes,
code?
yes. Whatever time I'm writing, right, I will be giving the notes also.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Git is a version control software. Git is a version control software, and it's a what is that? It's a it's a distributed version control system. Distributed version control system, not centralized. Not centralized. Understood? It is used to track and manage changes, manage changes to files locally, and Git Git is a open source. Git is a open source tool, so free of cost, and source code also available. Source code also available. You guys understood? So now you understood the what is Git and what is GitHub. What is GitHub, right? So whatever the software we installed, and we can manage the local repository through the Git client. So from the Git client, we can push the data from Git local to Git Git local repository to remote repository. So how we can manage this too, by using, I already showed you, right, the Git client. So we can push the code from your local repository to remote repository, GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. You can push it. Yes, understood? Yeah. What is GitHub? So GitHub is a remote repository. GitHub is a platform. GitHub. What is GitHub? So what is GitHub, guys? Now you understood the what is GitHub. So what is a GitHub? GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files or source code at one place. Source code at one place. GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files or source code at one place. Source code at one place. What this is? This is the GitHub. So GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files and source code at one place. In GitHub, we can create the source code repository. So what is it? This is the source code repository to store the project code. Okay. All the developers can connect to the project repository and to store the project code. To store the project code. Guys, understood? GitHub is a platform. GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files or source code at one place. Source code at one place in GitHub. In GitHub, so we can create source code repository. What is that? A repository. Which repository created? AWS with DevOps material. That is this is my repository to store project code. My project code. Okay. What is the next? All all developers can connect to the project repository. Connect to the project repository to store project code. To store the project code. What is that? Code integration. Code integration will become very easy. So code integration will become very easy. Is understood? Azure DevOps and Git for repo and ticketing tools for. So Vijay, you can speak out here. What this is only for Git and GitHub. Okay, so code integration will become very easy. GitHub repository will monitor the code changes, right? How it will monitor the code changes, who modified, when modified, what modified, why modified, right? So GitHub also will track the changes. So this is the commit ID last 1 month ago. Who modified? So Hari Krishna Cheruku modified this file. Okay, he see here. So when it was modified, or what is the commit message, what it modified. Okay, so it will verify it, guys. So right, what is GitHub? GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. All the code changes. How they can monitor? They can monitor by using who modified, when modified, what modified, why modified, right? So why modified? You guys understood? So now you understood about the ocean control system and what is Git, what is GitHub. Guys understood? Guys understood? Guys speak out.
Yes, I am able to understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So who developed the Git? Who developed the Git? Who developed, guys? So Git was developed by the Linus Torvald. Who, guys? Linus Torvald. Who developed the Linux? That guy only developed the Git, and he released as a open source. He released as a open source. So what is a open source? What is a open source, guys? So open source is nothing but a. So we have a 2 points here. One is so
Anyone can
free
use
of cost.
free to use.
Sorry.
Anyone can use free to
Yes,
use.
yes, yes, yes. So free of cost and source code also available. Source code also available. Source code means so he developed the Git, right? That code also available. So you can take that code and you can customize whatever you want. The same like as a this is the Git, right? He created the Git. He released as a open source Git. So took that source code and some companies created their own tools, their own remote repository tools. So that remote are Git GUI tools. What those are? GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. Okay, all these are all these are okay. So who developed this, guys? Linus Torvald developed this Git. So everyone took that source code and created their own type of GUI tools. What those are? So So that Microsoft company before, so now it is acquired by the Microsoft, but before it is a so GitHub community. So they created their own GUI tools. What is this, guys? So these all are the GUI tool. So GUI tool. So this is also GUI tool. They developed the GUI tools on his GitHub. GitLab. Okay, GitLab and Bitbucket by Atlassian. Bitbucket by Atlassian. You already know, right? Jira. So who are developed the Jira? That guy only developed the Bitbucket. Okay. So if you learn any one of these Git, GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket, it will be very easy to understand the other repositories also. Yes, understood? So what we will cover, we'll cover all these three. I will show you GitHub and we'll show you the GitLab also, Bitbuckets also. It will be very easy to understand this. So it will be very easy to understand. The developers, whoever the developers. Multiple developers will connect to this. So it varies from company to company. Some companies are using Bitbucket, some companies are using GitLab, some companies are using right GitHub, some companies are using Bitbucket. Some companies are using Bitbucket. So the developers will use this GitHub, will use this GitLab, or will use this Bitbucket. So for example, TCS is using TCS company is using GitLab, or something like Infosys is using GitLab, or something like Mindtree is using Bitbucket. Okay, so now you understood, guys. Git is a software, so we can install in the local. This is local, and this is a repository, remote repository, and this is a distributed version control system. Guys, what this is? This is the distributed version control system. You guys can install the Git on your laptops and push that code to what is this? So here Git. So here also you can install the Git. Here also you can install the Git, and so push that code to Bitbucket, push that code to GitLab, push the Git to GitHub. You guys understood? Guys?
Yeah, I'm clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Now you understood the how it is, where it is. Right. So GitHub source code and the source code also available. So GitLab CLI. What is that? How to install the Git software on your local Git Git download. What is that, guys? Git download. Sorry. Yeah. So this is the Git, guys. So For Windows, so you can download and copy and install. Just click next, 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 next. It will install, and along with it will install the Git Bash also. This is the Git Bash, guys, because of so Linux, right? Who developed the Git? Linus Torvald. Who developed the Linux? Linus Torvald. So it is comfortable with the Linux. That's the reason Git Bash. Bash is a born again shell. How we can execute the CLI commands? You can execute the CLI commands in the Git Bash. What this is, guys? This is the Git Bash. Okay. Yeah. How you can install the Git version? Yeah, 2.5.10 is installed. I will show you guys how to install. Okay, so this is nothing but a git bash local git. How you can run the commands of git CLI. Okay, git commands. What is that? Git commands or git add, git commit, git status, git log, git push, git pull, and git clone. Okay, we have a number of commands. So we will discuss in this git commands. Okay, so git GUI tools. So which tools we will discuss here? So we will discuss the git GUI. What is git GUI tools, guys? Guys, what are the git GUI tools? What are those, guys? GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, right? GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Azure Repo, AWS code commit, etc. Yes, understood? This is the GUI tools. So what is a Git client? So what is Git client, guys? Git client to branch, local repository, remote repository. So environment setup. We'll discuss tomorrow, guys. So we'll discuss tomorrow what is Git local, Git client, Git branch, right? So you see here the branches. So what it is? So it is the 5 branches. What is branch? What is main? So we'll discuss Git client, Git branch, local repository, remote repository. So then environment setup. How we can create the account, how we can install the Git local. We'll discuss tomorrow, guys. Understood? Guys, understood?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, right? Kalim, now you understood, huh? Kalim, Sonal Gupta, you joined 2 times, huh?
Hello.
Yeah, Sonal.
Hello. Hi, Hari. Yeah, Sonal this side.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain me again the centralized and distributed?
Centralized under distributed.
Yeah. What was earlier because earlier it was just centralized, and so what was the drawback? That's why we switched to the centralized one.
Yeah. So in the centralized version control system, so we have only a repository. In the remote repository, there is no local repository. So for example, this is the server. If the server crashes, so the code will be not available in the local repository because of there is no local repository here. Okay. If the code crashes or if the server crashes, the code will though we will not retrieve the code, right? And the committing and updating also very slow while using the SVN, sub version control system. So that's the reason. So a distributed version control system came into the picture. In here, there is a local repository as well as remote repository. So what is a local repository? I told you, right? So this is the, so for example, This is the local repository. What this is the Citibank, this is the local repository. Your entire code will be there in the local repository as well as in the remote repository. The code will be there in the remote repository as well as local repository. If something goes wrong on the local, so it will be in that remote repository. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of the centralized and distributed version control system.
Hello. So,
Hello?
hello. Yes. So when you talk about the local, so what do you mean by the local? For example, we are the two developers. Okay. We have a working directory. We are working on the software. So we push the we want to push the code to the remote. Clear? So we push the code into
How many developers? Two developers are there.
yeah, just two developers. Okay. So we will, in order to push the code in the remote, we will push into the local first. First the code will go to the local and then to the remote. Okay.
Yes.
So I make a AB changes and it will be present in the local, and the second developer make the CD changes. It will be present into the local.
Yes, A, B, C, D. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And overall changes will be present in the ABCD in the remote GitHub.
When we push the to A, B, C, D.
Yes. When first developer will post their changes AB into the GitHub and the second developer post the changes CD into the GitHub, then the GitHub will contain the ABCD, all the changes from developer 1 and developer 2, consolidated changes.
Yeah.
Right?
I will tell you one thing. I will tell you one thing here. So for the first developer will push the code to AB. Okay. So then this guy, while pushing the code to CD, then he will do the git pull. Okay. So it will sync the whatever the code in the remote, it will sync to the local repository also. So now the developer 2 having the ABCD. Then again he pushed the code. He pushed the code to remote repository. AB is already there, right? It will only push it to CD. Now in our developer 2 having the ABCD as well as remote in the ABCD. But developer 1 doesn't have the CD. Then what he will do?
Yes.
He will do the git pull. Okay, then he will get the ABCD here also. Now everything, developer 1 having the ABCD, developer 2 having the ABCD, remote also having the ABCD. So for example, remote server, this is the remote server, right? It crashes. That code will be
Yes.
available in the developer 1 or available in the developer 2. Again, you want to push the code to developer 2 from local to remote, it will push it.
Okay, but if in case the developer one could not take a modify changes, he could not make a pull request, then the changes will be with the only one developer. I mean the developer which made the CD changes. Clear?
Clear.
Right?
Right.
Yes. If in case server crashes, but the developer first developer could not could not take a pull of the
Yeah, before
yes.
pushing to the developer before pushing any changes, they will do the back merge or something like they will do the pull, then after they will push. So if you are trying to push, right, so in here what it will show, first you need to do the git pull, then only you can do the git push. So it will automatically download the whatever the newly changes, then it will push to the new changes also.
Okay.
First what we will do the pull, then only we can do the push. Understood? If you are trying to push, so it will not accept, it is asking, first you will do the git pull, then you can git push.
Okay, so you mean in order to push my changes, I need to clone the directory first.
Yeah, first time clone, then next time onwards push and pull.
No, I cloned it into my in my system, in my local, or in my working directory. Getting me? I cloned it in my working directory, and I started working it, and I developed something, and now I make a push request. Okay. So changes will be stored into the remote directory.
Yes.
Okay, now again I start working on my existing software or existing functionality, and again I make the post changes. It will work. Why I need to take a put?
No. So we need
Getting
to
me?
create the branches. Yes. Future branches. Then you can push to the your local feature to remote feature. Then you can create the merge request. So it will have a
Because
merge request.
in my previous project, I cloned the project. I took the clone. Okay, I took a clone and start working on the things. Okay, in my working directory, and then I post the things, and again I start working it, and then post it.
1 second. Okay. So you cloned the repository, right? This
Yes.
is the cloned one.
Okay.
Okay. So which one you cloned? You cloned a main repository or you cloned
Yes.
so
Main.
so main only. So
Yeah.
from so you cloned the main to from remote main to local main. Okay. So for example, the repository name is Citibank or Access Bank.
Okay.
Okay. So this is your Access Bank and this is also Access Bank. This is the repository you clone from remote to local. Okay. So you did the
Okay.
clone. Then you
Yes.
can okay. After that, you made some changes on main or you created a new branch from main to other
No,
or you
no,
just
just made the changes, added the file into the local.
local main which branch either main branch or you created a different branch and then you made the changes.
No, just
Mostly we are not
whatever.
doing the changes in the main branch. So from main to you will create another branch called as a future. So from the future you are creating from the future you are made some changes on the future branch. So what you will do, so you will make some changes in the future branch. So from here to you will push the code to remote. So here also it will create the future branch. Here also it will create the future branch, and the code will be available in our local remote repository as well as remote repository. Now what you will do, whatever you are changed the code, right? So you will create a merge request or a pull request from future to main. Then your manager or your lead will validate the changes and merge the code to the main. So this is what our real time exists. So now tell me, so you modified the code in the main branch itself, right?
Yes.
You modified code in the main branch itself. Okay. You whatever the modified code is in their main branch, but not there in the remote main branch, right?
Yes.
Hmm. So what is your
No,
question?
so I take a clone. I
Hmm.
made the changes in my local. Okay,
Okay.
and post those changes into the main. So you mean I can't post my local changes directly into the main branches. I need to create a branch in the remote, and I post my local code into the remote branch, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then
Yes.
merge
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes. This is the procedure. This is the procedure of, or this is the
No,
procedure.
that is the
Directly you cannot.
procedure. Harika, that is the procedure. But can I do the my local changes directly into the remote main or not?
Yeah, we
Can I
can
do
do it,
it?
but that is not a procedural way. So, for example, if you push the code from your local to main to remote main, so the main code most probably your production code sync with the main code. Prod will sync with the main. That's the reason. So everyone, as per my knowledge, so we cannot push the directly from local to main, remote main, because of our remote main is synced with the production, right? So we cannot move the changes directly from your local main to remote main, as per my knowledge. Understood? Sonal.
Yes,
Yes, right?
okay.
I don't know what you have did, but I will tell you the branching strategies, how we can pull, how we can push, how we can create the merge request, how we can, if you get the Git conflict, how we can resolve it, how we can revert it, so how we can stage while in the working directory, resetting, reverting, cherry picking. I will show you everything. Okay.
Okay. Yes, that is that you are saying it is not advisable to push the code from your local man to the remote man, but
Yes, yes,
system
yes.
does not restrict you to do the same.
That does not register, but that is not a correct way or a process. That is not a procedural way to send from main to main. Yeah, this will not restrict. You can do from main to main.
Okay.
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 Yeah, thanks.